Hello there, everybody. Welcome back. I'm finally getting back to this MySQL stuff that I was doing. I don't know, a while ago. So anyway, if you've been following along, and I don't remember the last video. I think it was part 5, whatever part it was, and now you're up to this one. You're like, whoa, this is a different project. Yes, this is a different project. This one is a little bit further along the development line. This is a mobile GPS based RPG, blah, 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 that I'm working on. So, anyway, but it's actually the same as what I've done up till this point in the previous videos. So, to just kind of show that, this is also running through XAMPP just like I was doing before. And I've got my accounts, so like Jerry and my super password word pass, and I can log in. Hey, I'm logged into the system. So with this project, I just took all the code that I've been doing in the previous videos on that other one, dropped it into here, a couple changes here and there, and bang, it's the same thing. Actually, like almost no changes on the underlying stuff. If I need to create a new account, boom, here's the create account thing, and and then I can create the account just like we did previous videos. It does the SQL, all that stuff on the back end. Okay, so what I'm going to do in this video is hopefully not be incredibly confusing, but yeah, I'm going to hope not to be. So what I've got here is if I go ahead and I've got a different scene here. If I go to basically once you log in, if you already have a character, you go into the game with your character. If you don't have a character, you go to the character creation screen. So that's going to be part of what we're going to be putting together in this. Actually, that's what we're going to do now that I really think about that. But my character creation is, sure, let's save that scene. So, here's my character creation. If I go ahead and play this, this currently, and these characters that you see right here, these are free characters I found in the asset store, developed by Merlika. So Merlika has like 30 characters in the asset store. And these, hey, yeah, this is where I got them from. Let's see, it looks like I do have one error that I'm going to have to fix really quick. And then I'll get back to the video. Yeah, so let me take care of this error really quick. Hold on just a second. Okay, sorry about that. I actually thought I had a working version when I started this. Anyway, so if I go ahead and play this just to kind of show what's going on here, I have my little character creator. Now, if you're not really sure how to create a character creation system like this, I've got some videos on character creation. Those videos are a lot more complex than what I've got here. This is a much more slimmed down version. So I can be male, female, whatever. Let's see. Let's see. I'll be this guy, and I'm going to call myself Jim. And then when I save my game, or when I save the character, I then load. My GPS is loading in the background. Not going to be going over that stuff in this, but so that's the gameplay of the project I'm working on. So what we want to do here is we want to get it so that once I'm done, once I click save, it actually writes the character to the database. And then once we have that working, we're going to go back to look at our login system so that when I log in, if I've got a character, load it. Otherwise, take me to the character creation screen. So that's what we're going to be doing. And in order to do that, we are going to jump right into in my particular case, I have a script that's called create character handler. And basically, this is the one that handles the character creation process. And right here is my button save clicked. So whenever I click the saved button, this is where it does stuff. And you can see right down here is where it actually loads my next level. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to, right about here, send the database my character stuff, wait for like so, send it that, wait for database to finish writing my character stuff, and load my gameplay scene. Now you might look at this thing, okay, well, what about making sure that, say the character isn't already in the database? It can't be. each player can only have one character. Oh, well, that sucks. Well, this is my game. That's the way I designed it. So, yeah, each player can only have one character. So when they logged in, if they had a character, it's going to already be pulled out of the database. At least by the time we're done with this video, or this video should be in this video. So this is what I'm going to want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with the database side of things. Now, just to kind of see what I've got going on here, I have something called a player object right here. So this is a game object that basically this has a script on it. In this case, it's a ECGC player demo because this is the script I'm going to give out or did give out, depending on when you're watching this. This is a script that gets handed out, one of the scripts that gets handed out at the ECGC Summit. And this script is player controller, and within there is also a player data. It's a scriptable object. Right here is player data. It is basically just a storage point for a scriptable object called it's of type base character, and this base character, it stores basically what I want in my character, at least up till now. So if we want to take a quick look at that, base character, here it is. It has whether the character is male or female, the index of the sprite that is being used, the name of the character, the experience, number, how much experience it has, the level, and also the user ID. And this user ID, if you remember from our login stuff, this is the primary key. This is the user ID that goes along with the user. So that way I can differentiate whose character is whose. So this is what's stored in there. The player data then gets initialized. Don't destroy on load. So that way I can hand it from the login to my game player, from my character creator to my gameplay, and then I can destroy it later if that's what I want to do, and that's fine. So anyway, so yeah, basically I have a player object that has a base character that has all the data, and I want to send that to my database right here. And then I want my database to do whatever it's going to do. So I'm going to go over here to my DB handler script. This same DB handler. Now I know, this is like, wow, a lot of this stuff didn't exist in the last video. That's true. But these videos are focusing on the database side of things. So if I look at my DB handler, just to kind of refresh ourselves, here's my login. Here's my create account. Both of these fire up a coroutine to handle the delay. And once they're done, they then launch. They go to the subscribe delegates. That's what I'm going to do. So I don't know. Let's say right after create account, right here, I'm going to come down here. I'm going to say public void create character, and I'm going to send it a base character, the character, and that's the character that I'm going to be saving out to my database. So let's see. All this stuff. This is what I'm going to be doing. So yeah, let's just copy this. Why not? Control C, Control V. Let's see. I don't really need a hash code, so I'm going to drop that. And maybe before I get going too much further, let's go ahead and jump over into. Actually, let me turn off my Facebook on that. Okay, Facebook is gone. So let's go ahead and jump over into my admin here inside SQL, MySQL. So I've got my users table. I want another table. So ECGC demo, I'm going to select that. I'm going to create a table. I'm going to call this, I'm going to call it player characters. Looks like I'd done this before. A number of columns. So I want to store user ID. I want to store the name. I want to store whether it's male or not. I want to store the sprite index, the level, and the experience. So that's going to be 6 columns. I might want more at some point in time, in which case I can add them later or whatever. So I'm going to create a table with 6 columns. I'm going to hit go, and I'm going to start defining these. The first one is going to be user ID. It'll be an int. That's good. 20, because that's what I did on my users table. Attributes will be a not what I'm looking for. Over here in index will be a primary key. That all looks great. We'll hit OK. Or go. I'm sorry on that. Cannot be null. No okay, good. Next will be name. This will not be an int. This is going to be a tiny text. Where can I find it? Tiny text. Length. I'm going to go with 10. Sure. Yeah, I don't know, 15, 10, 10. Yeah, you don't need a name longer than that. Okay, then after that, I'm going to do a is male. This is also going to be int, so it's basically going to store a 0 or a 1. Can it be null? No, it cannot. Default value? No. You got to assign a value when we create this. After that, I'm going to make a sprite index. That's also going to be an int. Everything looks good. After that, I'm going to make a level. That's going to be an int. Yes, yes, yes. Default is going to be as defined as 0. No, actually, you start off level 1. That makes more sense. Or level 0 if I want to do like a traditional dungeon crawl there. And then next is going to be experience. That's going to be as defined 0. Okay, that looks good. All right. Table's ready to go. Save. Aha. All right. All right. Let's see. I just want to write these down so that I remember how I spelled them. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. All righty. So now let's go back to the land of C#. And specifically our DB handler right here. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to put together the form I'm going to want. Let's see. So I'm going to add field. I'm going to go with create character. I'm going to do a user ID, and then I'm going to say the character dot user ID. Yes. And then down here, I'm going to add another field. This field is going to be create character underscore name. And then this will be the character dot the character dot my name. Okay. All right. And we will continue this. I'm going to need 1, 2, 3. I'm going to need 4 more of these. Control C, Control V, Control V. All righty. And we will be right back. Okay, all done creating my form. You can see right up here because the is male is a Boolean. So I start off setting a value defaulting to 0. If it's not male, I'm going to set it to 0. Default of 1. If it's not male, set it to 0. And then store that into there and then just pull the rest. Okay, so I've constructed this. So now I'm ready to fire up a coroutine. Probably not do account creation. Maybe I will call this do character creation because I'm feeling really creative at the moment. And maybe it is going to be really a whole lot like what I did in my do account creation. I'm just going to kind of select these. Boom, 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 all the way down to there. Do a Control C to copy that. Come right up here. Control V. Let's see what we got here. Well, let's not call this account creation. Let's call this character creation. We're going to send our web request. Cool. If we have an error, cool. We're going to get something back from PHP. Cool. If the message is not fail, let's change this debug. The character was saved. Cool. Otherwise, character save failed. Character save failed. And then we're going to fire up a delegate. Probably not an account creation delegate, maybe a character creation delegate. And a character creation delegate, which means I'm going to need to jump over to my delegates really quick and go ahead and define those. So right here, I will say, what will I say? I will say public delegate void on character creation. Boom, boom. Public static on character creation on character. So basically, I'll just follow the blueprint that I kind of did before. So now I've got that delegate defined. Database is ready. Feeling pretty good about that. Yeah, feeling pretty good here. So let's go back to our create character handler. And now I know that I want to go ahead and send my database some stuff. So let's see, I should have a MyDB dot. MyDB is just a variable that's a reference to my database handler. So we will now do a create character parenthesis, and it wants to know what character am I creating. Well, there's a couple ways I can do this. I can either send it, well, I've destroyed this one, so I'm going to have to pull it off the player object. So let's do that. Player object dot get component. Boop. What am I trying to get from here? ECGC player demo. Boom, boom. Dot. Let's see. To actually put my character in here, let's see. What did I put in there? Enabled, blah, blah, blah. Show me start coroutine. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to chuck this right here. I am going to, let's see, these right here, these destroy things. I'm going to move these. Control X. I'm going to move those and destroy those later. I'm double checking. Nope, I'm not going to be able to do it that way. Oh, I can go ahead and send it now. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Blah, 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 blah. Right here. Right here, we will send player data to the database right here. That'll be MyDB dot create character. Boom. Although I'm really surprised that I did not leave access to the character. Set character. Yeah, okay, whatever. I didn't do it. So my database create character, and I'm going to send it player data dot my data. There we go. And that is basically just the scriptable object that has all of that stuff. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Once I've sent it, then we can go ahead and destroy it. I don't need it anymore. And yeah, we're going to wait, but that's done over there in the database. And then we're going to load. Basically, once it calls once it comes back from the delegate, or we're going to load in the delegate. Yeah. So let's see. Let's see if, well, we're not ready to successfully try writing anything because we're going to have to go into our DB handlers. Which is it? I don't even know what it is. I'm going to have to go to, here we go. I'm going to have to go to my XAMPP, go to my htdocs, go to my ECGC demo, go to my DB handlers, and I need to put in here a new script for creating account. So let's go ahead and okay, so this is calling it. Okay, so I need to create a new script. Let me stay on track here. So I'm going to do a Control-C, Control-V, because it's going to be similar to create account. I'm going to do an F2, and I'm going to change this name to create character, like so. Pull this up in Notepad++, and change language hats so that I am now in the language of PHP. Okay, so user ID equals, and just have to remember what I called these, create character, and this I believe was user ID. And if I want to, I can kind of move this down a little bit. There we go. It's in my DB handler. Where are you at? There you are. Blink. There we go. Where's my form creation? There it is. This is what I was looking for. All that stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and get all these names set. So next variable will be name. So dollar name equals create character name, create character name. Let's see, what else do I need? I'm going to do a dollar is male. So I can see them better. There we go. I'm going to do a dollar sprite index, dollar level, dollar experience. Okay. And this should follow along there. I'm going to say equals dollar underscore post. Boom, boom. Create character underscore is male. Boom, boom, boom. Go down to the next one. Okay, so you don't want to sit and watch me do all this typing. It's basically I'm taking this stuff and I'm putting it down here. So we'll be right. And we are back. So I've got my variables defined there. So let's see. If user ID is empty, we failed. That's fine. We're going to include our credentials. Okay, we're going to insert into, except I'm not inserting into that same table. It's going to be a different table. Let's see, what did we call that table? Well, let's go check because I don't remember. We called it player characters, and there's our fields. So let's go ahead and do that. So we will say, where are you? You're over here. We'll say insert into player underscore characters. And we're going to insert into here, boom, 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 like so. User ID, name is male, sprite index, level, and experience. Cool. Okay, so we've got that. And then we're going to do our values. Well, that's going to be dollar user ID, dollar is male, comma, space, quote, single quote, dollar sprite. Nope, 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 nope. Pay attention to what I'm doing here. I left the name out. So right here, single quote, dollar name, single quote, comma. There you go. Then I've got the is male right there. Now I have a sprite index, comma, single quote, dollar sprite index, then is level, single quote, comma, then is experience, single quote, dollar EXPRIENCE, single quote. There we go. So there's our query. We run our query right here with include execute. We get some results, which should be good. Which should be, yes, it worked. Okay, so let's go back to our C#. So let's go ahead and change our hats, get our C# hat back on. And we're back in our DB handler. And looking at my DB handler, double checking things because there's going to be a problem here. And this problem is going to be, what is it going to be? It is going to be blah, 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 blah. I'm looking. It's got to be here somewhere. Here it is. This is, I was looking for it. I knew it was going to be there somewhere. I don't want to call the create account PHP file. Instead, I want to do a create character PHP. Oh, but I don't have one of those. I will. I'll scroll up here and let's do a string create character PHP equals, let's be lazy, Control C, Control V, and this is create character.php. Boom, boom. There we go. Now, that should save my character. However, I have one problem in this, and that is that if I test this by testing my character creation scene or screen, I do not have a default value for my character ID, for my user ID. So I'm going to have to do some I'm going to have to pull the user ID from my login screen so that this works correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and load up my login screen, save whatever changes I have here. And basically what I want to do is my login works. So if I run this, like we saw this a minute ago, or a few minutes ago, and if I type my login and I type my super secret wicked cool password and I log in, I've logged into the system. What I'd like to do is I'd like to get the user ID to show up down here. I'd like to get the user ID back and then kind of figure out, oh, what can I do with it? So let's go back, bouncing all over the place. This is just a crazy video because we go all over the place in this one. And I'm going to go back to my DB handlers inside htdocs, ECGC demo, DB handlers. Let's take a look at our login PHP. So I'll right click, edit with Notepad++, and see what we've got going on in our login PHP. So right here, I'm just echoing a 1. If the password that the user entered equals what's inside here, what's inside the record, what's inside the results, I'm going to echo that. Or I'm going to echo a 1 if they're successful. What I'd rather do, kind of thinking out loud here, is I'd much rather do a $record, maybe user ID? Maybe something like that. And if I look at my database, and if I go look at users, I see that it was called user underscore ID. This is a situation where I really need to pay attention to how I name things. It won't find that user underscore ID. So going back to Notepad++, let's change this right here, underscore ID. So I would like it to send that back. So now that means that if I log in successfully this time, I would like to see a 6 down here. I want this to show me a 6. So let's see what happens. Let's try that. Let's go play. And we will do a WordPass login. I got a 6. I have my user ID back. This is a neat, this is an important thing. So I'm talking to my database, and now my PHP is not just sending random stuff. My PHP is actually sending something back from the database that now inside Unity, I can be like, well, what do I want to do with this? So let's figure out what I do want to do with this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select this, and I'm going to try to figure out where was this line of code printed. It was printed inside DB handler 147. So let's go check that out. Let's go to DB handler. Where are you at? You're right there. 147 is what printed it. Let me go find that. Boom, 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 boom. 147 right here. So if we successfully logged in, I got a message back, and I'm printing the message that came back. That's what I'm doing right here. What if instead of doing that, we like created a character thingy and we put the character values in there? What if we did that? Let me kind of walk through this a little bit better, what I'm talking about. If we go back to my character creation screen, remember I had this player data thing sitting around, just kind of sitting there and being like, woo, hey, what's up? I'm a player data thingy. Check me out. Well, what if instead of having it here, we put it in the login screen, they log in there, we then put the user ID inside this player data, tell it don't destroy and load, and send it off to this next screen. Hopefully you're kind of following what I'm talking about. And yeah, hopefully this kind of makes sense, but let's try this. So I'm going to, this script, this thingy right here, I'm going to go ahead and I see it's not much of anything. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove it from my character creation scene, save my scene, go back to my login scene, and create this thing over here. So let's do a game object, create empty. I'm going to call this, I'm going to set it to 000 just because I'm really weird about that stuff, like so. And I'm going to call this player underscore data. I'm going to tag this as a player data thing. I'm also going to give it a player data script that I have, like so. So now what I'm thinking is when they log in, I want to be able to modify this thing somehow or other. I think that would be neat. So here's what we will do. We will make some changes to some stuff. In our script, in our login script, where's my login handler? When I call the DB boom, 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 on login clicked right here. When I call login, I'm sending it the username text, and I'm sending it the password text. I'm also going to go ahead and I'm going to send it this character thing, this player data thing. If they log in, it can do stuff with it. Or I can just have it send it back to me. Blah, blah, blah. There's so many choices. There's so many ways to do it. Let's not do it that way. Let's completely ignore what I was just saying. And right here inside this, where I've successfully logged in, message, remember this message has the user ID in it. So maybe I'll even write that down. Message has a string version of the user ID. I want that. Okay, so I want that. So what can I do to get it? There's a few things I can do. Probably the easiest is make some changes here. Let's see. Let's create a new base character. New character data equals scriptable object dot create instance, one of those thingies, of a base character, one of those thingies. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. And then I can say new character data dot. Now, if I want to take a look at this, what this is, you can see that's just what it is. What I want to do is I want to set this user ID equal to something. So let's say dot user ID equals, and let's get really dangerous, and we'll just say int dot parse, and we're going to parse MSG. Because the MSG, the message that it sent back, has the user ID. And it should. If I'm inside here, it should have the user ID. I'm going to go ahead and assign that there. And then down here, I can do a comma new character data. I'm going to send this data to something else. Now you might think, well, why don't we just send it the number? Because eventually, this isn't just going to be the number. Eventually, this is going to be the number and the name and the level and the experience. Because they log in, we're going to go ahead and load the character data, and we're going to send it all back, and we're going to say, hey, here's your character. Go ahead, go to the game. Okay, so I've got this yellow, not yellow, that's a red thing. Why do I have that? Because this delegate on login is not defined to accept one of those as a parameter. So let's go back to delegates. My on login, which is right here, I'm going to do a comma base underscore character. I'll call it new character. And let's see, we'll give it a default value of null. That way, if they failed to log in, we don't have to send it anything, and we don't need it. We're going to ignore it anyway. So, and that's this right here. Everything looks good. So now I'm sending it a character data. So now my login handler is getting inside a delegate somewhere. I should have a red thing. There it is. My logged in delegate responder, subscriber, whatever, needs a, what does it need? It needs a base character. I'm going to call this character data. So now, if we have not successfully logged in, I'm going to do some tweaks here. I'm going to do all these. These are basically going to become my error messages here. We failed to log in. This. Like so. I'll do a string message right there, and then we'll go ahead and display it like so. So if we have failed to log in, we're going to get that error message. Otherwise, what are we going to do? Well, otherwise, what we're going to do is go find the player data that we have in this scene and give it this thingy right here. Do we have a variable for that? Well, no, we don't. We don't really need one. So right here, let's go ahead and do a, what do I want to do? I want to do a, I'm thinking. I'm going to start with a game object player. Object equals game object dot find object with tag quote player underscore data. There we go. I do not want this to destroy, so I'm going to say don't destroy on load player object. There we go. Next step is I want to initialize, or I want to set the internal data equal to that. So let's go ahead and initialize it first. So we will say player, let's do this, player underscore data PD equals player object dot get component player data. Boom, 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 boom. And now we can say pd dot init. Go ahead and initialize that. And then we can say pd dot my data dot user ID. No, we'll just say my data equals. What all are we doing in the init? Where is it? Player data. Oh, I've got don't destroy unload right there. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that looks good. So let's get rid of this don't destroy unload right there. Don't need that. Dot init, and then we'll say pd dot my data equals character data. We just sent the character data, and now I'm looking at this. I'm thinking, I don't really need that, so I'm going to go ahead and just grab this, Control X, and put it right here. Control V. There we go. Home, home. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so now when we've successfully logged in, we have a character data, and we're going to take that character data that we have, and we're going to assign it to the player data thing that I have in the scene, and then we're going to go ahead and launch our next scene. So scene manager dot load scene, and the scene I want to load, I think, is I don't know what it's called. I better not just think. I don't have a clue what it is. No, it's not that. It is PC character creation. That's the scene I want to load. PC underscore character underscore creation. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. So if I've successfully logged in, I'm going to go load PC character creation. Cool. Now this does raise the thing of, well, what if they have character data? What if this character data is more complex? We're not there yet. Let's go. Let's do one step at a time here. Okay. All right. Let's see what happens. Why not? Let's test this thing out. So we're going to play this. Oh, what's the worst that can happen? It blows up my laptop. Let's drop that down. So I'm going to log in. Jerry. I'm going to log in incorrectly. Let's make sure my error still works. Log in. Oh, it went there. Okay, that was unfortunate. So that did not go where I wanted it to. Let's take a look at why. Okay, so I was just being dumb. It was successfully logging in because I actually typed the correct password. I meant to type an incorrect password. I did not type an incorrect password. So this time I will. So that's not the right password. There's my error message. Cool. So now I'll go ahead and type my correct password and log in. And here I am, and I'm ready to now create things. Notice over here I have a player data, and this player data will have the user ID as its user ID thing. So now let's go one step further. Let's say I'm going to go, boom, I'm going to be that guy, and I'm going to call myself Jim. And let's save this. And this is what we're wanting to test. Let's see what happens here. Let's go ahead, save. Character save failed. Okay, so it didn't work. So let's see if we can figure out where that went wrong. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to double check my database over here. And yeah, okay, nothing happened there. So let's go ahead and while I debug and figure out where I went wrong, I'll be right back. Okay, so taking a quick look at this, I would bet that if I go to my button save clicked where I was initializing my player data, I would bet, just taking a bet, that when I initialize the player data right here and I create a new instance of the base character, I just lost the user ID. I then go try to write into the table, and it's like, this is a primary key. You have to have this. You don't get to not write that. So I'm going to get rid of this like so. And let's see what it does this time. So we'll go ahead and play. Let's log in with my password. Log in. There we go. I'm still going to be Jim because Jim is who I want to be today. Yeah, I'm going to be Angry Jim. Save. Okay. I got a 1 back. It did something. I didn't get an error message. Something just happened to Jim right there. Now you might be like, what just happened to Jim? Is Jim okay? Jim is actually okay. What's going on to Jim? This this ECGC player demo script. If I actually load it, you will see that it sets the scale, and I need the scale set. So yeah, that's what happened to Jim. And you can see other things. Change the name, tag and stuff like that. But anyway, that was in that script, so that's why Jim did that. We can also come over here, take a look at our database, and here's Jim. User ID is 6. That's exactly what it should be. His name was Jim. He was male. His sprite index was 3. It was the third sprite. And 0 on level, and experience is 0. I thought I defaulted that to 1, but whatever. It doesn't matter. You can see that it's got the default values. So I'm now saving. It, however, did not load my game level. So let's go to our character handler right here. So I am successfully I'm saving my character. I want to load the next scene, which is this part right here. And I only want to do that after the database is done with whatever it's doing. So basically, if I go back to the DB handler, go check out this on character creation, boom, boom, that right there. Okay, I need to do that. So let's go to our create character handler. And this right here is going to be a different location. I'll copy that. Let's see. In my start, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a delegates dot on character creation character saved. There we go. Now I just need to put that somewhere. So I'm going to come on down here, I guess down here at the end. Or do I want to put that in my database handler? No, my database handler is doing just fine. My database handler could actually load the next scene, but I don't want to do it that way. So I'm going to do it down here. And I will say, what does it have to be? On character creation, it's a void. Okay. It's got to be public because it's the delegate. No, it doesn't. It's just void. Yeah, okay. We're good. So I'm going to say void on, no, character, come on, type. Character saved. What do I want to do? Load the next scene. But before I do that, let's go ahead and unsubscribe. So we will now say on delegates dot on character creation minus equals character saved. There we go. Because I just don't want to stay subscribed to it. So now that will take care of loading out of there. So now all we need to do, and I know this video is getting kind of long, sorry about that, but we're at that point where it takes a while to get some stuff done. So now all we need to do is in our login, if we successfully logged in, I want to get that character data, and I want to then load my gameplay. So let's take a look at how we're going to do that. We're going to start going back to Notepad++, and we're going to go into our login. And in our login right here, if we have successfully logged in, right now we are returning the user ID. Okay, let's take that and kind of put that in the back of our pocket. Return the user ID. So we'll put that in the back of our pocket. What I want to do before I do that, however, is I want to go ahead and see if we actually have any of those things inside our player characters database. So let's do a right here. let's see if the user has a character. So we're going to do a dollar query equals quote select star from, and I believe it was player underscore characters. Can double check that really quick. It is player underscore characters, and it is user ID. Okay, so player select star from player underscore characters, where user ID equals that, and this will be record user ID. There we go. Boom, boom. And what do I need? Yeah, boom, boom. Gotta get my booms right. That should be correct. Now, if I want to clean this up to make it just a little bit easier to read, I can do dollar $ID equals dollar record, boom, boom, user underscore ID, boom, boom, boom. And then over here, I can just do a dollar, boom, right here, dollar ID. Makes it a little bit easier to read. Okay, so now I'm going to get everything out of the player characters table that matches this user ID. And we're going to go ahead and include, quote, execute SQL.php, quote, boom, boom. So we should now have some results, I'm hoping. So we will say dollar record equals my SQLi underscore fetch array, parenthesis, dollar results, parenthesis, boom. So we just converted our results into an array. And what can we do with that? Well, Well, here's what we can kind of figure out. If we've actually got something here, we should be basically this is what I'm saying. If dollar record dot if dollar record, what do I want to do with dollar record? I want to do something to dollar record. Yeah, I want to do something to dollar record. So let's see. Just still kind of thinking out loud here, being like, what do I want to do? I'm thinking. I would like to. Okay. I was like way overthinking what I wanted to do. I want to do if, and I want to see. So I just put this into a array. I want to see if the first item in this array, which is going to be dollar record 0, I want to know if it happens to equal dollar ID, the ID that I saved up above there. Did I happen to pull back something? We have found a character for the player. Just for the player, not for the player characters, just for the player. Else, right here, else the player had no character. The player has no character. That's sad. Okay, I don't know why that entertains me so much. In which case, what I'm going to do here is go ahead and do a return dollar ID, which is this thing. Okay, so right here, hey, yeah, we did get a character. Great. So let's do a dollar character data. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start putting together the character data that I want. Now, string concatenation in PHP is done with a dot, not a period. So I will do an equals. What do I want to equal here? Equal, I'm going to start off with dollar record. Now, I can either do the indexes if I happen to know the order they're coming back in, which I do, since I designed the database, or I could do a search right here where I could do quote user ID is going to be the first one, and then I do a dot. I'm going to put pipes to separate things because that's what I like to do. Plus, that's what I'm using inside my map data, so it's just kind of consistent to how I'm doing other things within this game. Then after user ID, what do I want? I want a name, like so, and then what, a dollar pipe, one of those, and a dollar record. And then after name, what would I like to send back after name? I am thinking that I'm going to look over here and double check what I have. So I did name, then I do is male, sprite index, level, and experience. So let's just do is male, boom, dot, boom, 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 dot, dollar record. That's is male. Now I could also be doing the actual 0, 1, 2. I'm actually going to do it that way here. 0, just because it's going to save me some typing. 1, 2. And I'm going to send it back the third one. Do another dot, boom, 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 dot. Send it back the fourth one in my array, dot, boom, 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 dot. And finally send it back the fifth one in my array. Boom. So user ID, name, sex, sprite index, level, and experience. There we go. And then I'll go ahead and do a quick echo of dollar character data. So that is what I'm going to send back. I'm going to send back this string that has basically all of that information. Now, of course, the more information I put into here, the more I need to start thinking about different ways that I might want to do this. This might not be the most efficient approach. In fact, it probably isn't. But for small amounts like what I'm doing, this is going to work okay. So I'm going to echo that. So that will echo. And now I can go back to my login handler here, or actually back to my DB handler, right? So in my DB handler where we logged in, so we're going to have to start thinking about what's going on with our login. We're logging in. We do a login, base character. So remember, I was able to just parse message because I knew that is what was coming back, that it was sending back a message or a user ID. I can't guarantee what it is sending back this time. So in order to get a better idea of what it's sending back, I am going to go ahead and do some changing here. So yeah, so this is my user ID right there. Let's do this. I'm going to do an array of strings like so. I'm going to call this character data equals, what does it equal? It is going to equal msg dot split on that, single quote, sorry. So I'm going to split on that. And now I could then say if character data dot length. If character data dot length is greater than 1, we have some character data. Else, we only have a user ID, which means I can do this right here and I will be fine. Control X, that will be fine. That'll work. I'm happy with that. Or I have something else. So let's take a look at what happens here. We're just going to kind of knock around with this a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and let that sit there because I don't really care. So let's say debug.log MSG, like so. And then let's put the same thing up here. Debug.log MSG. and let's just see what's popping out here. So let's go ahead and run this. So I'm going to log in as the one that has data and as the one that doesn't. It's a local function. What is this? Um, plus equals. Sorry, I knew that. Uh, character saved on character creation plus equals character saved. Yes. Oh, I don't need the. I don't know why I do this so often. Um, I don't know. I'm dumb. I don't need these. Just, bleh, bleh, just having one of those moments. Okay, so let's start off by loading or logging in as my account that has a character that has Jim saved in it. So I'm going to go ahead and log into that account, log in. There's my data. You can see it brought back my data. 6 Jim 1300. What do I want to do with that? Let's figure that out in a minute. Let's try logging in as the account that does not have player data. Go here, which is my JDM one, and log in. There's my user ID. Awesome. Now that's parsing out or going to the correct places like I want. So that simply means inside my login handler here, I'm now ready to go ahead and go to where those debug.logs are. Where did I put them? Where did I put them? Oh, where did I put them? Right here, swear. No, that's not. Where did I put them? So I'm login clicked. Here it is. That's not it either. I'm logged in. It's got to be here. Oh, I wasn't doing that in here, was I? I think I was doing that over here in DB handler. Yeah, it's over here, my DB handler. My DB handler is figuring out, so what do I need to do with this? Because I'm going to make my database handler do the parsing of this because I think that's data side of things, personally. Just my personal opinion. So let's say debug.log. Okay, so I don't want to debug. Okay, so this is fine. I'm happy with that. Boom, boom. So next up, let's get rid of this extra white space right here. So right here, instead of debugging it, I'm going to go ahead and start putting it together. So I'm going to kind of pause this as I do it because it's just going to be a bunch of equal signs. Alrighty, and here we go. So basically parsing integers when I need to, setting strings. The male, just set it to a default of true. If it's not supposed to be, then set it to false. Put in my sprite index, put in my level, put in my experience. And then as far as getting the actual sprite, I've got other code that takes care of that. As far, the focus of these videos was really to get the information from the database. So I'm now able to log in. I'm able to take my user ID and assign that as a primary key to a character I create. And I can save my character when I create it. And then when I come back and log in again, if I have a character in my database, I load my character as you saw right down there, before we loaded that one when we loaded Jim, and you saw Jim sitting down there. So we are all set. It is all working. I can now get stuff, put stuff in my database, take stuff out of my database. The next thing that I should really consider doing is some SQL injection and sanitization of the inputs, which use regular expressions to kind of put that together. If I get a chance, I'll throw one of those videos together. But there's lots of other sources on that, and really my goal was to lay down the foundations for this. At ECGC, I will be going over the sanitization stuff, so I anticipate that I will add that video to this series at some point in time. However, it might be after I finish the summit at ECGC. Other than that, if you have any questions, just let me know. I'll do my best to answer them whenever I can. I hope this was helpful. Bye-bye.